Okay, well, this fucking thing doesn't work. Okay, well, can't fucking stream it because my goddamn motherfucking streaming thing refuses to fucking work. So now I get to actually record the damn thing. Because fuck me. Are you fucking kidding me? Alright, well, whatever. Today we will be going over chapter 31 of that WAP textbook. To anybody who might not actually be using the fucking textbook, this is that fucking part that was after World War II. I am either sick or I have really fucking bad allergies, and I think it's the latter. So apologies in advance for any issues coming from that. Now let's get right into the fucking news. The old news. Whatever the fuck it is. Alright, so after World War II, you basically almost instantly split up into dem communist and dem capitalist. Okay? And then everybody decided, you know what? We should make this wonderful thing. We're gonna call it the UN. Now the UN, it got a military, and it's just everybody up in one spot. You got a military, you got a bank, it got some, you got that UNICEF, it got all sorts of shit, right? It was just everybody coming in for a peacekeeping thing. And, quote, all signatories to the United Nations Charter renounced war and territorial conquest. And if you have lived in this world for any significant amount of time, you will know that that's a whole lot of fucking bullshit. So I'm not gonna waste my time. Let's see. And the UN got a lot fucking bigger as people got decolonized, which we will go over later in this chapter. Decolonization of the motherfuckers in Africa and Asia, which is fucking obvious. Decolonization of the country. Whoa. Whole fucking shit. I'm not typing out any definition for that. That's pretty fucking obvious. So yeah. Anyway. They made the UN, to help out. They made the World Bank. So just in case anybody got fucked up real bad, they can go to the UN and beg for money. Now this was a fucking problem, a little bit, because while the Western countries, had like a capitalist market, and they would, do cool shit like that, the Soviet Union is a command economy. Now, command has a command economy. Now, a command economy, not command economy, command economy, or what was it called again? Com-econ? Co-econ? I don't know what the fucking thing is. A command economy is where the government controls everything, right? They will control what food you eat, where you live, what you buy, what you have, everything. You are underneath absolute control. So they're not really going to trade with foreign countries, which is a little bit of a fucking problem for all them capitalists wanting more money, and also a little bit of a problem with the World Bank, because how the fuck are you going to take money from somebody that doesn't really believe in money? Kind of fucked up a little bit there. So, you know, that's only one of the many little and large tensions between the West and the East. What do I mean by the West and the East? Man, for one thing, you haven't... Wait, okay. For one thing, you haven't been fucking listening in class. And, for second, the West and the East... I have to delete this now. I hope you wrote it down. I hope. It's pretty handy. West and the East is comprised of basically the U.S. versus the USSR. Okay? You know, obviously U.S. has, you know, like the U.K. and France and, you know, Western Europe, and USSR under its belt has got places like, I don't know, Hungary and, other countries and other shit. And, you know, they just kind of button heads over each other. They're going like, communism's better, no, capitalism's better, no, communism's better. And then there's this thing called, and then there are these third world countries looking at them going like, I don't give a shit, I'm going to take advantage of you and take things from you since you hate this other guy so much. And I'm getting ahead of myself again. But, too fucking bad. Since we're talking about alignment, the third world countries, or the non-aligned countries, were countries that basically just went like, I don't give a fuck about either of you, I just want you to give me money. Like Egypt, multiple times, right? So, you know, it's headed by this guy named Nasser, and he kind of wants to do this whole pan-Arab League and liberate Israel for the Palestinians, and, you know, the United States don't like that, so he goes to the Soviet Union and he gets weapons from them, but then he backs down so that he can get the United States to help him build the Aswan Dam, and then he attacks the Suez Canal, and then, actually I should write that shit down. I'm going back over it, but just as a quickie, you know, he's just going back and forth, playing the rivals against each other, because, you know, fuck the United States and the United Soviet Socialist Republics. I don't remember what USSR stands for. It's pretty fucking... I'm pretty fucking tired. Anyway, back to the part that we were at. Okay. Back to the part we were at. Take green. Hit green. So, recovery after World War II was a whole mixed bag of the United States above everybody else. Like, there's the United States on top of the mountain, and then here is everyone else, because they're shit. Except for the USSR. I guess the USSR is pretty big. It's going up the mountain. But, you know, the US is on the fucking top of the world, right? They are the best. While Western Europe was kind of fucking destroyed by, you know, the massive fucking war. So, we got shit like the Marshall Plan, and if you were paying attention in class, the Schuman Plan, which was based... Oh, wait, no, the Schuman Plan turns into the European Economic Community, that's later. But the Marshall Plan was the United States going like, we will throw money at you, okay, we will throw money at you to become something more. And, you know, when somebody throws money at you, it's pretty easy to spend that money and get better. Which is exactly what West Europe did. Hooray! You know, and also, these European governments are more socialist, so they nationalize more things. Like, Great Britain nationalized coal, steel, railroads, healthcare. French did basically the same fucking thing. You know, it's pretty fucking cool. So, Europe then decided, hey, we're kind of still pretty trash compared to US, right? We're on the bottom of a fucking mountain. So, here's the plan. Let's ban... Oh, shit, you can't see that. Oh no. Ah. Oh. I don't know how to fix this. Okay. It's a little bit better. I think you can see it now. Yes, you can. Okay. Anyway. They're still pretty fucking trash compared to the United States. So like, we will band together and create this amazing thing called the European Economic Community. No. Which they were also was also known as the Common Market, which then evolved into the European Union. Oh fucking boy. They're now United States. Fuck me. So that happened. Wages increased, welfare grew. Shit was pretty fucking good for Europe, and shit was always good for the United States. You can argue that maybe things aren't so good for the United States right now, or weren't so good in 2008, and on and on and on, but who gives a fuck? I don't. I'm just a random privileged asshole cursing about history. Why should I give a shit about the economy? Anyway. In the meantime, the Soviet Union, while they they were kind of keeping up until they weren't. And they're shit. So let's have a monument of shit to the USSR. They're shit. I mean, they can do stuff. They're pretty cool. Like, they can compete in the space race, but like, they don't got food. They barely have food, water, housing, clothing, electronics. The West is like not shit, while the USSR is kind of shit. So keep in mind that. Oh my fuck. How long has this been going? 12 minutes. Okay, this is pretty shit speed. Anyway, so from all of this, we now got that Cold War. The Cold War. Right. Like I said, US v USSR. So they basically just gave weapons to other people and stared at each other going like, I don't fucking like you, asshole. Like, here, let me characterize this. So, like, I'm sure at some point you have hated a motherfucker in your lifetime. But you can't punch that motherfucker in the face. Okay? It's exactly like that. Right? You hate that motherfucker and you want to punch him in the face, but he could just as easily punch you in the face and or kick you in your nether regions. I don't know whether you got a pussy or a dick. How the fuck am I supposed to know? And so, you just kind of angrily stare at that asshole, and you do things to inconvenience that asshole. I don't know, steal his pencil, get somebody else to mess with one of his friends or her friends. I don't know. And just generally be a dick to them. Just kind of just kind of compete in general. Be like, I'm fucking better than you, and they might come out on top sometimes, but you're still gonna try to be better than them. And that was basically the Cold War, but with weapons, and nuclear weapons, and a whole shit ton more death than the situation I just described. So let's see. Most of the time, it's fights either between West and East or North and South. North being communist, South being democracy, right? So, and just as a handy key, if it's North, that's bad. If it's North or East, that be communist. Communist. And if it's west or south, that be capitalist. Or, you know, American. Wait. Capitalist. There we go. Or American. You know, same thing. So, you know, with these weapons and stuff, you got NATO popping up. You got the Warsaw Pact created in response. NATO being the West militaries kind of getting together and be like, I don't fucking like the Soviet Union. And the Warsaw Pact going like, those guys don't fucking like us. We gotta band together and not like them back and be ready for shit. And then at one point, North Korea tries to invade South Korea. We got that Korean War. So basically, just the UN, the UN sends troops to go fight against the North Koreans. And it basically devolves into now we have South and North Korea. And I'm out of space again. Shit. Pause the video at this moment to write down any notes you might have missed. And I'm going to delete most of this shit for room. I need that room. It's handy. Okay. Back to things. So, yeah, we got North and South Korea. And then Vietnam. Hey! So Vietnam happened. And following the line of bad drawings. Yeah, you know, that looks like a deformed dick. That's close enough. So we got the North and South Vietnam. And like we said earlier, North's communist, South's democracy. Or capitalist, or whatever fucking ever. And so, first, the French had Vietnam. And then, they got their ass kicked by the communists of Vietnam. And then, there was a North Communist Vietnam and a South Democratic Vietnam. And then, the Viet Cong, which were communists in South Vietnam, started fighting against the apparently corrupt and unpopular democratic government of South Vietnam. Because clearly, that's how a democracy works. You elect the corrupt and most unpopular person. Smart. Anyway, basically, the United States tried to go in, and then they had to pull out. Their pullout game, however, is not very strong. So, they're in there way too fucking long. They put in, like, somewhere 500,000 troops. They get fucking destroyed in the end. You got the protesters back at home, black bands, all that. So, like, you know, it's kind of a fucking problem. So, eventually, North Vietnam wins. Vietnam be communist. Moving on. Sorry. Oh yeah, race for nuclear supremacy. So, nobody really wants to see people using nuclear weapons because that would mean, you know, nuclear fallout, which is, from what I hear, pretty shit. So, in 1954, great President Eisenhower told the Soviet Union, if you want to fucking attack us, we will turn you into a smoking, radiating ruin at the end of 2 fucking hours. Minus the fucks. And then a few years later, Khrushchev, one of the Soviet leader, said, we will bury you. And he was actually referring to economic competition. But, you know, when somebody tells you, we will bury you, and, you know, we're that, how do you draw an American flag? Here. And you're that proud nation of America you don't take too kindly to we will bury you. You. I'm not gonna pronounce his name. Soviet asshat. Soviet asshat. Okay. Hey. He said, and then Eisenhower said something threatening. Okay. So, things are getting pretty fucking intense. So, Khrushchev decides to make it a little bit fucking worse by putting... that's a terrible color. You gotta do the black and yellow. By putting nukes... I'm probably wasting time drawing this, but, I don't really fucking care. Putting nukes into Cuba. And when your enemy puts nukes right outside your front fucking door, you kind of freak the fuck out. Like the United States did. And so, it was very close, but they were eventually able to negotiate not having nukes on the United States front door, which was cool. And also, there's a thing that they came together and made called the Helsinki Accords, where everybody got together and went like, here, you gotta stop with the fucking nukes. And so the United States and the USSR went like, fine. And then also called for some other cool shit. I don't know, economic, social, governmental contacts, cooperation, and humanitarian efforts, on and on and on. And so, the US and the USSR want to fight over something. So clearly, this sparked that space race, which ended when we went on the fucking moon. Because America, fuck yeah, coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah. If you don't recognize that reference, you should be ashamed. And if you don't know where it comes at all, it's from Team America World Police. Don't watch it right now. You should be busy studying WAP. Or world history. Or whatever the fuck you're watching this for. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? And now we're coming back to this decolonization thing. What happened? Colonies got decolonized. I'm really just gonna blast through this. So, India turns into India. Fine, I'll write it down. So, India turns into India and Pakistan. And they constantly fight over Kashmir. A lot of deaths come from Kashmir. Southeast Asia. Indonesia fights off the Dutch, is communist, and then brutal military coup. Who happens, and then it's militarized, and then Myanmar, formerly Burma, is let go by the British, and Singapore comes from that and kind of just becomes its own thing. And then Algeria, there's not enough room again, and then Algeria kills a lot of French people and gets independence. Where else? Most of Africa gets peaceful fucking pretty fucking peaceful negotiation. Peaceful that. Except for Algeria. there's an important African asshat named what I'm writing on screen, and who I will refer to as African asshat. I mean, this guy isn't actually an asshat. I'm still going to call him African asshat because it's the easiest thing to call him at the moment. There, African asshat number 1. He got freedom to see the Ghana, formerly the Gold Coast, and then there's another guy named Kenyatta, not Zenyatta. Kenyatta, African asshat number 2, if you can pronounce it, but I can, because it's just like Zenyatta, one of my Overwatch mains. Ready to go on your watch? Nope. Let's see. Kenyatta ruled Kenya. I guess that was pretty fucking obvious. And then he did Ghana. And French Africa did stuff with the help of an asshole named this. And then the Belgian Congo was a lot of fighting. South Africa had that apartheid thing happen. Let's see. And now we're moving on to Latin America. Oh, well, not everybody's gonna remember South Africa. Well, basically, South Africa had that discrimination and segregation. So, a lot of fighting over it. And so there's this thing called the African National Congress fighting against apartheid. And then there's this guy named Nelson Mandela, which, had tried to fight it. And the government tried to shut it down, but they couldn't because freedom. And then they had to free Mandela and transition into majority rule. Okay, moving on. So Latin America, the West happens to own most of the Latin American shit. Latin America's shit. Okay, they own all the big industries, except for Mexico, which took their oil back. But that was a problem. So poor old Guatemala here tried to take back most of the land because it was controlled by a banana company. But that the CIA comes in, kills off Benz, which was leading that movement, and they got fucked over, and it condemned Guatemala to decades of governmental instability and violence. 'Cause USA, we're fucking assholes. And in Cuba, let's see, I'm just gonna put down principal names here. Cuba, Castro. Okay, Fidel Castro. Basically, US went like, here, we'll give you weapons. Oh shit, you're communist. Oh fuck, we're gonna overthrow you. Oh fuck, we can't. We're fucking dumb. The USA, still assholes. Because Cubans kind of looked at the terrible fate of Guatemala and went like, we're not dealing with that shit. Get the fuck out of here, United States. So they kind of got their ass kicked. Let's see. And, you kind of lose your reputation when a bunch of Cuban revolutionaries kick your ass really hard and make you look like assholes. Even though, technically, the US, they be assholes. Okay. What else? We already talked about the third world. That was a thing. Yay. Japan and China. Well, alright, fine. How much more do I have to talk about? Not a lot more. Good. Fucking tired. I should probably take my science notes and do my math homework at this point. Ugh. Alright, so Japan basically worked as hard as they could to kick out the USA, while China had Mao Zedong. So, Mao Zedong. He did a couple of things to kill off as many Chinese people as he could. First, he tried the Great Leap Forward, which failed miserably and killed millions of Chinese people. It was basically just trying to industrialize more or some shit, but people be dead. The next thing was the Cultural Revolution, where he would kill anybody that had any bourgeoisie usage or some shit. And that meant party officials, teachers, there we go, teachers, intellectuals who promoted bourgeoisie values, which, surprise, surprise, killed a shit ton of people. And after all this, the United States went like, we're gonna partner with you, China, and just kind of ignored the former Chinese nationalist government of Chiang Kai-shek in Taiwan, because fuck him. Who the fuck cares? Okay, and in Middle East, everybody is pissed about Israel because, Israel. The Jews were sent in there to kick the Palestinians' ass over and over again, displace them from their homes, all that shit. There's this thing called the Palestinian Liberation Organization, and there's this thing called the OPEC, which controlled oil, which kind of fucked over the rest of the world because they were the only ones with oil, basically. So they were able to drive prices up and fuck everyone else over. There's a bunch of environmental concerns, and the United States makes the EP fucking A, and makes the Clean Air Act of 1970. Clean Air Act of 1970. And we're done. As always, good luck, assholes. You're probably gonna fucking need it. Or not. I don't know. Maybe this will be an easy quiz.